Well, hello there. Nice to see you. I'm Janice. Today we're going to go over how to request a record of employment. To keep the videos short and to the point, I'll go through the explanations fairly quickly. Please pause and rewind as you like. Just a reminder to check the other videos in the library. Here we go. The process of putting together a record of employment or an ROE should be a simple process, but it isn't always. You see, there are a lot of factors that impact an ROE, and if any of them are incorrect, then it makes things very complicated quickly. You see, the issues always occur due to the client not following the rules of when and how an ROE should be completed. Yes, our firm completes the ROE, but 100% of the data comes from our client, the employer. When an employee is hired, here are some things that can negatively impact completing an ROE, and this is before the employee even starts to work. Incorrect name, address, SIN, or what about incorrect hire date, which is also their first day worked. Keep in mind that just because you hire them on one day and you tell them to start 2 weeks later, it doesn't make the date you tell them they are hired as their hire date. In fact, the first day that you pay them for is their hire date. Other factors that will stop an ROE from being completed accurately are too big of a gap in their employment, meaning maybe the employee was let go temporarily for a short time and returned, but the gap in employment may have required an ROE to be completed on its own. Missing pay weeks. Missing or inadequate reason for leaving. Missing or improper last day worked. There is still vacation pay that hasn't been released. Requesting an ROE before the employee's final pay hasn't been submitted for processing. Okay, you probably got the point, and maybe you've already learned something, so let's get into the finer details. Before we get into actual requesting an ROE, let's discuss some of the high-level details that you may or may not know. These are all important to know before you request the record of employment, making an error and costing more time. Like everything in accounting, it's just like computer programming, garbage in, garbage out. What you put into the ROE, you will get the results that are similar. Here are some facts that you must know. 1. You can't request an ROE until you as the employer submits the employee's final payroll through our firm for processing. 2. Once the final payroll has been put through, as soon as you do, you can request the ROE the same day. But the employee's final pay date must be during the period covering the last pay period. 3. If the employee's vacation pay is held back, meaning they don't get their vacation pay released with every pay, that too must be requested to be released during the final pay period. 4. Our firm does not and will not release vacation pay without the client requesting to do so on an ROE request form. You see, we do not have the authority to make changes to the client's payroll request. 5. Our firm only completes records of employment on Wednesday afternoons, such all requests for an ROE for the week must be received by noon on Wednesday. 6. When we submit an ROE to Service Canada, they do a validation check on it. Their system checks the ROE to make sure it conforms to their expectations of the data included on it. If it fails to pass, then adjustments must be completed to be resubmitted. Remember what I said earlier, 100% of the data that goes onto an ROE comes from the client in one fashion or another. This means that if Service Canada rejects the ROE, it has something to do with the data that you supplied. There's some trivia for you. Now let's get into the record of employment request form itself. To request an ROE, you must do so using the PayPass portal. You can locate the link on our firm's website either on the homepage or under the Client Zone tab. When logging in, use the email address that we have for you and your PayPass password. Besides, you would know this anyway because this is how you've been submitting your payroll all along. Once logged in, the process is extremely simple. Click on the Request ROE button. The next screen will look like the sample that I have behind me. You just need to select the name of the employee that you need the ROE for from the drop-down list to the right. No, you can't request an ROE for several employees at once. This is done one at a time because they may not share the same last day worked or reason for leaving. Once the selection is made, the form opens and fill in the blanks. Your company name and employee name will be pre-filled in. Enter the employee's last day worked. This can't be any clearer, but errors are often made. This needs to be their last shift they worked for you and also be within the range of their last pay period. Next, select the employee's reason for leaving. You must select one of the options in the drop-down box, as these are the same selections that Service Canada uses. The next field is for notes. Here you can provide any further details that you may deem necessary. They can be notes for our firm or that you want included on the ROE. Just keep in mind that this section should not include long details or extended explanations as to why the employee left. These types of comments are better left for Service Canada if they call to confirm information about them. If you select other reason for leaving from the previous drop-down list, provide very brief details here, only a few words, no multiple sentences or paragraphs. Like they say, keep it simple. Once you're happy that the record of employment has been completed properly, hit that submit button at the bottom. Wait until you go back to our firm's website, then you're done. I told you it was simple. Once you have submitted, the form comes directly to us. We then complete the ROE on your behalf. If any issues pops up because of the Service Canada validation process, we may have to contact you for missing or inaccurate data. Keep in mind that an ROE can heavily impact an employee's employment insurance benefits. They need this money to live and pay bills, so due care should be taken to ensure accuracy. Once again, 100% of the data contained in an ROE comes from the employer first. Here's a free piece of advice. Don't lie on a record of employment. Not only is it against the law, but you aren't doing yourself or the employee any favors, and your little lie can come back to haunt you, and your business reputation could be damaged or pursued further by the employee, Service Canada, or the Department of Labor. Why take the risk? Just tell your employees straight up, you don't lie on an ROE. Here are a couple more things that you should know about an ROE. 1. Records of employment are electronically uploaded to Service Canada by our firm. We do not prepare paper copies. 2. A copy of the ROE is not sent directly to the employee. 3. If the employee has a Service Canada account and can log in through their website, they can see the ROE on their account when it has been uploaded. 4. All records of employment are uploaded to the client's data link account. You do not need to print this off and give to your employee. It's there for your reference only. 5. We do not accept requests for an ROE directly from the employee. If your manager reports payroll and is typically the person who would request an ROE, he or she cannot request one for him or herself. The request must come from the employer. Well, that's enough details to pass along. For such a short form, there was a lot to touch base on. That's why we say that payroll is a lot more complicated than most people give it credit. If you have any questions about requesting records of employment, let us know. We'd be happy to help. If you haven't seen the other payroll-related videos or any of the other topics in our library, what are you waiting for? Janice here at your service. Thanks for watching.